On this week's Ask a Photographer, can I show my photographer a Pinterest board of photos that I want taken of me? Pinterest can be a great tool for helping your photographer see how you want to be photographed. However, there is a right way and a really, really wrong way. There are a lot of really wrong ways to use it, actually, and I'm going to give you 3 ways to use Pinterest so that you can effectively communicate with your photographer how you want to be photographed. Hello, my name is Mike Lloyd. I am a professional photographer in Silicon Valley, California, and having vision is one of the most important things a photographer can have when going into a photo shoot. Now, sometimes we have storyboards, we have suggestions of kinds of shots that we need. If I'm doing a branding session, I know I need certain headshots, hero images for the website. Maybe they face a certain direction to go on the web page in a certain place. But generally for portraits, we don't have those same limitations. We shoot our images so that they go well in an album and on wall art, and so that they look great when you share them digitally. So having vision is usually the job of the photographer, but sometimes our clients have an idea of things that they want when it comes to doing their photo shoot, and Pinterest can be a great way to communicate those things. But as I mentioned before, there are a bunch of wrong ways to do it, and I got 3 right ways for you. So firstly, don't expect your photographer to recreate the photos on the board. Second, make a list of things you actually like about the photos. And 3, would you put your photographer's photos in that same board? So number 1, don't expect your photographer to recreate the photos in that board. I say this because I want everyone to have the same expectations. Your board should be inspiration. It shouldn't be a storyboard of images that you want recreated. This is super helpful for a few reasons. 1, you don't know what equipment that photographer was using. Different body types photograph differently. Different lighting styles work differently in different kinds of images. Some images were edited in ways that you might not realize. And you hired your photographer for their own creative spark. So asking them to recreate somebody else's stuff is like, hey, I think you guys are a really cool band, but can you just play covers for me all night instead? That's not really why you would hire that photographer. So let's go over a couple of those things quickly. Firstly, equipment. Different photographers use different kind of lenses, which can create different effects in the image. So as a photographer and as someone who teaches lighting, posing, how to shoot all of this stuff, I can pretty much tell you what kind of lens and what kind of camera was used in the photo. Really, what kind of lens. Knowing that, I may not have that equipment, or the shoot space that we're in may not work for that kind of equipment. You're like, well, what does that even mean? Well, if I know something was taken with a really wide angle lens, but I don't have the room to take cool wide angle photos without getting, light stands and other things in the way, then we can't do that. And this, the effect that that lens has on the photo is probably what you really like about it. Same thing goes the other way. If I know it's a really long zoom lens to get that certain effect in the image, and I can't back up far enough in my space to use a lens that zooms that far, then we can't do that. But again, you're hiring your photographer because you like what they already create, not what you're hoping they'll recreate from somebody else. There's also the issue of lighting. Sometimes clients will show me certain lighting styles, usually really bright, airy ones and poses that look great there. But in my dark and moody lighting setup, which is all I shoot, doesn't really look that great, and sometimes it doesn't work. Also, there are poses that we can do in dark and moody that just don't work with bright and airy, and vice versa. So again, having an idea of what you're looking for is great, but it's just not realistic to expect your photographer to recreate all of those images. All right, number 2, make a list of the things you actually like about the photos. So this is kind of a part 2 from part 1. So if we're not recreating the images, how do we effectively use the board? Well, write down the things you like about it. Do you like the way the pose makes the arms look? Or do you not like your profile, and so you're choosing all of these photos that are more straight on or turned slightly? Do you like things that show off the booty or some other part of your body that you're really into? Or things that you want to hide? Write down specifically what you like about it. And if you're not sure, that's totally cool. You can have that conversation with your photographer. Because if you say, I'm drawn to these 10 images and I'm not really sure why, I can look at those 10 images and be like, well, your eyes are totally covered in all of these images and your mouth is closed and you're disconnected with the camera. That would be a thing that I would notice. Or maybe it's the wardrobe. Maybe everything is laying down or standing up. Everything is stretched out. Maybe everything is shortened. Maybe they're all close-up shots. Maybe they're detailed shots. A good photographer will be able to look at those images and figure that out. But I would suggest not just handing over the image board to your photographer and letting them figure it out themselves. But think about the images and what you like about them and why you're drawn to them. And as you start Googling images or looking on Pinterest to find these images that inspire you, you're going to get specific with your search terms, with your keywords, and you're going to start noticing patterns. So again, think about those things and communicate that with your photographer. Even if you just sort of have an idea, get the conversation started. And if you actually chose a good photographer, they should be able to take it from there. All right, number 3, would you put any of your photographer's work on that board? This is really important because if you choose images that have nothing to do with that photographer's style, whether it's lighting or posing, the way they tell stories, the way they interact, their editing, then maybe they're not the right photographer for you. But I've had clients show me Pinterest boards that are equal part my own images and then other people's images. I had one client not too long ago actually reach out and say she found this Pinterest board that she really loved a lot of the images for. I checked it out and like a third of the images were mine. I'm like, well, that's really convenient. I'm glad that you like my style. But as I always recommend, when choosing a photographer to work with, ask yourself, can I see myself in their work? Can I imagine myself as the person in that photo? And if so, great. Not do I like the posing? Do I like the lighting? Don't get technical like that. Just think, could I see myself in those images? And if so, that's amazing. If not, they're probably not the right photographer for you. Because again, maybe you have your favorite Italian restaurant downtown. It's like your favorite place to go. They do the best lasagna. But you go in there one night and you're like, I know you guys usually make the best lasagna in town, but can you do sushi? I mean, it's basically the same layered stuff and you guys are really good at that. Can you just make me some sushi instead? They're not going to do that because they're an Italian restaurant. It's the same with photographers. Yes, we take photos, we use lights, we pose people, but we're different from other photographers. In style, the way we approach our shoots, our storytelling, our editing, everything that we do is different. The one similarity is that we have a camera and we're photographing people. So consider that. If you can't see yourself in their work, they're probably not the right for you. But I would definitely consider looking through their images and adding them to your board before you give it to your photographer. So those are my 3 biggest tips for using a Pinterest board to effectively communicate how you want to be photographed. Number 1, just have realistic expectations. Don't expect the photographer to recreate the photos. Number 2, write down what you actually like about the images you chose. And number 3, would you add your photographer's images into that board? Now, if you are looking for a photographer, you're like, this is all great, Mike, but I haven't hired anybody yet. I've got some other killer videos on this channel on how to pick a photographer near you. So be sure to check those out. And I have some other great Ask a Photographer videos as well, like why do I pay so much? What's the difference between other kinds of photographers? How do I hire somebody? How do I display my photos? I got all that covered for you here on this channel, so be sure to check those out as well. And if you're curious about getting in front of my camera, I would be honored to photograph you. You can reach out, Mike at MikeLloydStudios.com. You are amazing. We'll see you inside.